Despite their 2-decade age difference, Lauren Bacall and Humphrey Bogart made up one of the most famous couples of Hollywood's golden age. This relationship sadly ended as a result of Humphrey's death from throat cancer. As Humphrey was passing away, one of the actor's longtime friends swooped in and stole Lauren away from him. This friend was Frank Sinatra, though his and Lauren's relationship ended poorly. Join Facts First as we explore how Lauren Bacall wished Frank Sinatra just spit in her face. Lauren met Humphrey Bogart when she was 19. When Lauren Bacall and Humphrey Bogart were paired up together to star in the film To Have and Have Not, few could have predicted just how much they would hit it off. Lauren wasn't even 20, while Humphrey was in his 40s. Despite this massive age difference, the two fell in love. They tied the knot in 1945 and remained married until Humphrey's death from throat cancer in 1957. Throughout the vast majority of Lauren and Humphrey's marriage, the two were head over heels in love. They had 2 kids and likely would have stayed together for many more years if Humphrey hadn't died. To Have and Have Not was Lauren's first film, while Humphrey was one of the biggest movie stars in the world thanks to his appearance in the classic 1942 film Casablanca. At the time of his death, Humphrey was 57 and his wife 32. Lauren Bacall was incredibly shaken up about losing her husband, but she thankfully had a mutual friend to help her through the tough time. That was Frank Sinatra, who was one of the married couple's closest confidants. While Frank had been close to Lauren while she was married to Humphrey, the two started up a romance after Humphrey's death. This helped her overcome the trauma of losing her first husband, but Lauren and Frank's relationship ended poorly. As a result of the way Lauren and Frank's relationship ended, Lauren carried a grudge against the crooner for the rest of her life. She didn't mince words when tearing into Frank in her memoir, referring to him with a 4-letter word. Lauren had turned to Frank during one of the worst times of her life. According to her, Humphrey's passing made her feel like a large part of herself was missing. She feared she might never feel complete again. Frank Sinatra helped her feel like herself again, but went on to make things even worse. Lauren Bacall and Frank Sinatra's relationship started out casual, but became more and more serious over the course of the time they were romantically involved. It got to the point where they considered tying the knot, but things soured before that. According to Lauren, Frank made her feel like she was the perfect woman for the crooner. However, it seems Frank may have been playing the actress, and the relationship didn't last all that long. Frank made Lauren let her guard down. Lauren's relationship with Humphrey Bogart had been very stable until he passed. She had spent the majority of her adult life with the actor and claimed she wasn't prepared for the childish behavior Frank Sinatra exhibited. Lauren has shared she never felt she knew where she stood with Frank, which is possibly what he wanted. Though Lauren had her reservations about the relationship, she claimed all of her guards went down as soon as Frank proposed marriage. His proposal made her feel like she had a true future with the crooner, though that turned out to be wishful thinking. Not long after Lauren accepted, Frank Sinatra broke off all contact with the actress and didn't talk to her again for several years. Before we tell you more, be sure to give this video a like and subscribe to Facts First if you haven't already. The night Frank proposed to Lauren. Frank Sinatra was said to have proposed to Lauren Bacall one night while the couple were dining with talent agent Swifty Lazar. After Lauren accepted the proposal, a fan came to the table and asked for an autograph. Frank pleaded with Lauren to sign the autograph with his last name, which she did. Following the dinner, Frank and Lauren parted ways for the time being. Little did Lauren know this would be the end of their relationship. Lauren was incredibly excited about the fact that she had just become engaged to Frank Sinatra and was looking to share the news with the world. After the dinner where they got engaged, Frank went off to perform a show in Las Vegas while Lauren went off to do her own work with Swifty Lazar. While with Swifty, Lauren was approached by a journalist. The journalist brought up her relationship with Sinatra and Lauren shared the news. Lauren Bacall didn't think she was doing anything wrong when she shared the news they were engaged. But when news spread, Frank became furious. He called Lauren on the phone and told her the two of them were going to have to spend some time apart to avoid the media frenzy that would ensue. This was the last time Lauren heard from Frank for many years, and their romance was done. Frank Sinatra's childish behavior. Lauren Bacall had initially taken Frank's insistence at face value, believing the two would spend some time apart and then resume plans for marriage. But it seems Frank was never interested in returning to the relationship once he got away. Though he had proposed during their final night together, it's debatable whether or not he intended to go through with the plans. Not long after Lauren received that last phone call from Frank, the two were seated fairly close to one another at a dinner party. This was by mere coincidence, as the two had not had contact since the phone call. Lauren was nervous about being seated near to Frank. She tried to get his attention, but he ended up ignoring her completely. Bacall was initially very angry about Sinatra's childish behavior during their relationship. She felt like a fool that she had ever allowed herself to believe she had a future with the childish singer. According to her, there was no way their marriage would have ever worked. Still, she couldn't help herself from falling for Frank during their short-lived romance. And a big part of this was the fact she was so devastated over the loss of her first husband. When did Lauren and Frank's romance really start? It's common knowledge that Sinatra was a close friend of both Lauren and Humphrey during the time when the latter two figures were married. It's also relatively common knowledge that Lauren and Frank became romantically involved after Humphrey's death. However, what's less well known is the theory that Lauren and Frank actually became romantically involved while Humphrey was alive. There is some evidence that suggests Lauren and Frank's relationship started out as an extramarital affair while Humphrey was on his deathbed. Numerous people close to the trio have suggested Lauren and Frank were romantically involved before Humphrey's passing. There was a significant time where Humphrey was essentially bedridden as a result of his worsening cancer. During this time, Lauren and Frank reportedly started their romance. If it's true, it sheds some negative light on both of them. Frank was a friend of Humphrey's before he was a friend of Lauren's, and he should have had more respect for the late film star. And Lauren likely should have waited until the passing of her children's father before moving on. Lauren did go on to remarry after Bogart's death, with her second husband being another actor, Jason Robards. They married in 1961 and divorced in 1969. She remained unmarried for the rest of her life, passing away in 2014 at age 69. Now it's time to hear from you. What was the most scandalous part of this story to you? Let us know in the comment section below. And before you go, make sure you give this video a like and subscribe to FactsVerse if you haven't already. Click the bell icon to stay updated on all our latest content. By the way, if you haven't joined FactsVerse as a member yet, be sure to look below this video and click the join button. By becoming a paid member of FactsVerse, you'll get access to exclusive video content that you won't find anywhere else. This includes some of our more mature content that isn't suitable for public audiences, which includes topics like Hollywood actresses who posed for Playboy and some of the steamiest moments in movie history. Plus, you can enjoy these videos completely ad-free. Our biggest fans will notice they also get badges next to their name when they leave comments on our videos. We pay special attention to comments from our members, and so do other viewers. So if you want exclusive content from FactsVerse or inside access to discussions with other community members, click the join button to get started for just $4.99. There are hours of members-only videos waiting for you, with new videos added every month. And we're actively working on bringing even more features to help fans like you connect with other members and get more of your favorite content. Just click join, and we'll see you inside the membership tab.